everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today it's Sunday the 20th of September. As you would have seen from the title, tonight I should say, I'm talking about Cliquey Drama Experiences I have had and my thoughts and feelings about it all. I'm doing it now because I feel like I'm at a point where I can talk about those periods in my life without being too not being too dominated by feelings and like anger and resentment, because I don't want to sink to that level, as plain as that. So I googled what cliquey meant before I filmed this video, and it basically means when a group or a place form an exclusive group and basically don't let anyone else, or don't let any outsiders in, or they are reluctant to let outsiders in, and they create, well, this is the analogy I've just thought of, they kind of create a little cocoon or bubble around themselves in which they feel comfortable, and they keep it that way in order to not have to compromise on whatever comfort that bubble has given them, that bringing outsiders in would compromise. I hope I've said that eloquently. So I'm first going to start off with the theatre group I was a part of when I was at secondary school. So they were a company where they didn't turn anyone away. However, there was a lot with the cliqueyness. There was a lot of favoritism. So it was the same people being cast in the lead roles every time, the same people being put forward for solos, and the people left were just being like, okay, we'll find something to do with you. Oh, here's a moment, let's just pop you in there, and that's it. I only got one leading role in my 4 or 5 years in that company, which was playing Mrs. Mears in Thoroughly Modern Millie. And even though I felt really upset and annoyed that I kept being cast in the ensemble when I felt I was worth more than that, the feeling of family in the group gave it a really kind of redeeming feature, because I was going through a lot during those years. I was being bullied. I went through family bereavement towards my final year of secondary school, and other things were going on at home, and the leaders in that group and the leaders of that group, the adults, they were really, really supportive of me, and I could always come, and they were really amazing at being reassuring that I could just come up to them and sit down, have a talk to them if I wanted to, and then, or really it was the feeling of escapism from those things that were being really difficult for me at the time was like a really massive thing. So those things sort of outweighed a bit the cliqueyness and the favoritism. When I got to sixth form, there was still favoritism, particularly when I got to my final year and the production was Sweeney Todd. However, because I was cast in the principal chorus, so that meant I had a solo, and the director said that I was the company's strongest, literally said to me that I was the company's strongest soprano voice, and so having that really meant a lot to me. And some of my very, very close friends, including my best friend, were in the group alongside me. So those of us who were feeling upset by the cliqueyness and the favoritism, we felt very, very able to support each other through those moments and find other ways of having fun. And I think the variety of ages in the cast, so we were a cast of year 7 up to the 6th form, where I was practically the mum of that cast because I was the oldest. The different energy of the year groups really kind of brought something to it, and I ended up really enjoying doing that production, even though I didn't have a lead role, but I knew that I still had a moment on stage to myself where I sang the Letters song, which is originally a quintet in Sweeney Todd, into a solo. So that was 6th form. I went to university with the hope that things would be better. I hoped that they would give me the opportunity to direct shows. I'd get the opportunity to grow as a performer and do extra experiences. And in terms of what the university had and the societies in it, I will admit that I am still very, very disappointed, because favouritism, and because there was a lot, cliquiness and favouritism was a very, very big dominating feature of both the drama and musical theatre societies, and it was so evident, it was beyond obvious that the same people were getting cast in every single show, the same or similar people were getting their pitch every time. I pitched at every single event to direct a show, and even when I got directing experience outside of the drama and musical theatre societies, I still didn't get it. And I was only cast once, but in the musical theatre society shows, every single time I was rejected, and that really did have a lot of, looking back on that time, it really did, it made me, and the people made me maybe a different person to the person that I am now. Because the person that I am now, the Elle that I am now, I know I would just throw the towel in and go, enough is enough, and walk away. However, I wasn't that person, because I was someone who, for whatever reason, was so scared of people disliking me or people thinking I was selfish and putting myself first above others. I was so scared of that, and I didn't want to be that person. I wanted someone who was kind, who did put others, who did consider others, and wanted to show that others that they were valued and important. And so I ended up doing a lot more production experience that I wanted. However, I will be honest, I did feel very, very taken for granted and basically kind of pushed out quite a bit. There was one incident when I stage managed my friend's production of Sardines, and when I came down from my post after one of the shows, talking to people, going, oh, the cast are really amazing, they've come so far since their first rehearsal, and then I got a lot of weird glances from people, and people were saying, oh, were you a part of it, Elle? And that made me feel very, very uncomfortable, and I went, yes, I was part of it, because I was the stage manager. I was asked to stage manage this show. And so that really kind of made me feel like there wasn't that feeling of that people were surprised that I was part of it. It really kind of wasn't nice, and I think it was the way that people said it, and it was sort of like they weren't expecting me to kind of still kind of be in the society. And then when I got to third year as well, I didn't get cast at all. I got rejected from all of them, and that was really when you could see it was really kind of beyond obvious that the same people were being cast. That was really when I realised that I really felt very taken for granted. When I was stagehand my friend's show in spring term before everything changed, I was sitting on the sidelines just watching people live out my dream where I couldn't live it myself, and I basically really felt like Cinderella, and that was a really horrible feeling. And because of that, because of that, the toxicity, because of how toxic this had become, it really had an impact on my mental health. I struggled with anxiety, I struggled with depression, and things that were in that was how scared I was of people not liking me and people thinking I was selfish, or I was constantly on edge that I'd do something and offend someone without meaning to, because I like to think that I'm someone that where if I do make a mistake, even if I don't realise it at first and need someone to call me out on it, I will say sorry, I didn't, that wasn't my intention, how can I've done it better. And it didn't help that one particular person in both groups, he just had a really horrible energy about him, and he was like some sort of magnet, or maybe what's it called, a whirlpool, where his energy was dragging people down with him. So any sort of high and important standards and values that would have been there in place before, that just got completely dragged down, and people got comfortable in that and felt like they were benefiting from the standards and the values being lowered. However, there was me who noticed that, and because of that, people's energy was changing, and I felt like I was the only one who still stood by that values and standards were very important. And I don't know why I didn't walk away beforehand. I think it was the reasons I'd said before, but also I just didn't have the boundaries, and I just wasn't confident in doing those boundaries. I wasn't confident in asserting those boundaries. However, outside of those groups, I did find other groups that shared them, like the Latin and Ballroom Club, and when I got involved in the local Shakespeare festival, I was surrounded by people who did share my values, and I think, if anything, really emphasised to me of the importance of values and standards, and who shared my values of inclusivity, treating others how I wanted to be treated, and being kind and working together, how important those were. And the drama and musical theatre societies just were not meeting those standards. I mean, looking back on it, I am allowed to be angry, I am allowed to be upset about it, I am allowed to be let down by people and disappointed in them. However, I am really trying to, because I'm now in a new spot in my life, I've moved house, I'm starting a new course. Because of that, I have been feeling like more and more I have been able to put those really hard times behind me. And over lockdown, I surrounded myself with some amazing people. I had a really amazing counsellor who I still work with. I have an amazing singing teacher called Naomi, who his lessons I always look forward to on a Wednesday. And I also went and had some lessons with Dean John Wilson, and particularly him and Naomi. They really kind of brought me back to kind of the Elle that I know was in there, and they reminded me that actually I am talented and I am amazing, and they, along with my counsellor and also my mentor, who I met through Change 100, who has also been amazing, who I've been working with over the last few weeks, they've all said, Elle, you are actually, together they've all said, Elle, you are amazing, you are talented, you do have a lot to offer, you have a lot of worth, but most importantly, you are you, and you can't be anyone but you. Something that Dean said to me that has really stuck with me is that my neurodiversity is my strength and to live life on my terms. Because of the standards being dropped in the drama musical theatre societies, I felt it made me feel that my neurodiversity was a weakness and was making me different and stand out in a bad way, and that was why I wasn't being cast and I wasn't good enough for them. Whereas I don't feel that now, and I am working on being much kinder to myself, and I have learned from those experiences, and I have resolved to take what I learned about that if something doesn't meet standard, you can walk away, because walking away is a strength. You leave them to be them, but you be you, and you will find people who share your values and who share your standards, and there's more of them out there than there is of those people who don't share them or are happy to compromise on standards and values. Okay, I think I've said enough. Thank you for watching this video. I will see you soon. Bye.